let's set the record straight on what it would take for the 49ers to trade for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and we can talk about packages here in a second, but I do want to clear up what is actually happening because I feel like there's a ton of information coming out a million miles an hour. And unless you sift through the weeds, you don't necessarily know like if he's truly available to the 49ers. And there have been things that have come out that have made me think he's not available technically, and then he is. And so basically, here's the situation. Right now, they are trying to get either a team to offer him money that Baltimore can agree to and re-sign him themselves, or 2 first-round picks in compensation. At this very moment, the 49ers cannot offer a contract straight up to Lamar Jackson because they don't have a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. Now, this offer can be made after the draft, and it would be totally legitimate because now they have their first round picks back for 2024 and 2025. However, what can be done is the Ravens can sign and trade Lamar. So if they work out an agreement with the team, they can sign Lamar and then trade him to X team. Whether it's the 49ers, you hear teams like the 49ers, Dolphins, they're interested, what have you. They can't technically offer Lamar because they don't have that first round pick. So I just want to be very clear as to what is actually going on and how you would have to go about getting Lamar before we even lay out a premise of what you think he's worth. So I'll let you start. What do you think Lamar Jackson is worth? What would you be willing to give up if you're the 49ers?
Well, the trade package you put on Twitter sound good to me. Trey Lance, Nick Bosa, and first. That seems like almost too much, but that should get it done. Nick Bosa to me is worth 2 firsts.
He is
right there.
Yep.
Then you put in another first, and Trey Lance. I mean, I don't see a team could beat that. The Lions have 2. There's a few teams that have 2 first round picks. The Lions could offer both of them. That's a very intriguing package. The Niners are offering picks in the future, next year's and the year after that. So
yeah,
no guarantee. But Nick Bosa, I mean,
I think it comes down to, is Baltimore willing to pay Nick Bosa? And do they like Trey Lance? Because if either of those things are not something they're interested in, then it's not that good of a package. Like to us on the surface, we're like, yeah, you get best pass rusher in the league. He's in his prime, defensive player of the year. But they're like, we don't want to pay him $35 million a year. We're not interested. Or they look at Trey Lance, say, we never liked Trey Lance. We're good. We're trying to get a different style of quarterback than what we're giving up. So I don't know. On the surface, to me, that sounds like it would get it done. I don't know what Baltimore would be willing or not willing to do, but if that was the package and Baltimore picked up the phone, smile on my face. Yep. Put Lamar on the first flight to Santa Clara. We're good to go here. Let's make that deal.
And what you're saying with that sign and trade, is that what the Raiders did to get Devontae Adams last year?
No. So let me explain this because this is where the confusion comes in. So the way that this franchise tag is written, you cannot accept players back in return, and you cannot accept more than the 2 first-round picks. So if another team signs them to that tender and they're like, hey, if you don't match the deal, we'll give you a 3rd first-round pick, or we'll give you 2 first-round picks and a player. They can't do that. What happened last year with Devontae Adams, who was also under this same tender where he should have gotten 2 first-rounders, the Packers agreed to less. So you can agree to less. You just can't agree to more, the way that the rule is written. So they agreed to a first.
Maybe Baltimore will agree to less.
Yeah, right. No way. No way. No way.
Hold on a second. Oh, you can't put players in, right? You can't put both in.
Can't put players in. Nope. So, but again, the loophole is they could do a sign and trade, which bypasses everything. So if Lamar's like, listen, the only team I'm going to go to is San Francisco. You better work it out. And San Francisco's interested. Baltimore's kind of got to do the deal unless they're going to play this franchise tag game with him for the next 2 years. So, yeah.
And with the sign and trade, can you put Nick Bosa in it?
Yeah, you can. At that point, now he's technically signed by the Ravens. He's their asset. The franchise tag is out of the way, and then you can make whatever offer you want to make. Yeah.
I mean, you could argue like the first round picks the Niners would offer for Lamar would be, late first next year, the late first year after, presumably.
Yep.
Bosa's worth more than those picks. Bosa is worth more than those picks. So you could almost do the deal just Bosa and Lance in a third. But I don't know. I'm sure the Ravens would ask for more, but you could argue that the Niners are giving up a whole lot just with those two players.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if it's Bosa, Lance, and a first, then the 49ers are going to say, hey, then give us, a third rounder the next 2 years to kind of offset it a little bit. Like, we need something. We're giving you a lot
Is
here.
Bosa not worth 2 first-round picks? Am I overvaluing him? He's not.
No, I think he's worth 2 first round. But yes, I think he's worth
defensive player of the year, defensive end. I mean, he's worth a lot.
I think he's worth 2. Yeah, I agree.
I think the Niners could pull this off. I think it's interesting though. The NFC is so weak that any team in the NFC that gets Lamar Jackson all of a sudden is vaulted to the top. What if Detroit gets Lamar Jackson?
They're right there all of a sudden.
They're right there. A team is really good. Offensive line, running backs, wide receivers. I think that would be an interesting team.
And they have the assets to go do it.
What if the Rams do it? I don't know if the Rams have I don't even know how this will work.
I don't think they have the assets. What are they going to offer?
Matthew Stafford?
No, that's not going to happen. Yeah, and they're not going to take Aaron Donald. They're not going to take Ramsey. Like, these guys are all way over the hill. Cooper Kupp and I don't know, 3 first-round picks. I'm not sure.
If the Niners don't get Lamar, they better go get Marcus Mariota because I'm really hoping I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he goes to the Cardinals. Because I like the Niners to have a tough time, and I think them having to face Marcus Mariota twice a year would be perfect.
Yeah. Well, once a year, because they're going to have to face Kyler, the other one, probably.
You think is he going to come back at some point? Yeah, he'll come back at some point.
I think so, yeah.
Spider Niner says, does Lamar equal Young under Shanahan?
I don't
know.
Young's an all-time great. I'm not going to go that far, but to me, the debate I've been having all day on this thing is Lamar is easily a top 7 quarterback. Like, that's at worst right now. You look at the landscape of the NFL and quarterbacks, he's likely top 5, but he's for sure top 7. So you've got a top 7 quarterback who's young. He's about to enter his prime. People say the wildest things like, "Oh, Lamar can't throw unless players are wide open." Well, I don't know of a team that gets players more wide open than the 49ers. Brock Purdy's yards of separation to the receivers he was throwing to was the highest in the league by a wide margin. So if Lamar can hit those ones, then that's all that matters. But that's not true. Lamar, I mean, I posted 3 videos today from one game of him doing the exact opposite of what people said he can't do. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Lamar. I think a lot of people look at his stats and say, oh, he can't throw in this league and he can't do the things that are going to be asked for him. Listen, Shanahan played Trey Lance like he was Lamar. That was frustrating because Trey Lance is not Lamar. But if you get Lamar and you play him like Lamar, then it makes total sense.
Can you imagine what his numbers would be if he were on the Eagles?
Oh, gosh.
So, I mean, the Niners have the talent around him. They got to finish their offensive line. Kyle has the creativity. It could work. You just have to adjust a little bit.
To your point, they've automatically got the best quarterback in the NFC immediately, day one. Lamar is in the AFC where all the best quarterbacks are. If we talk about the 5 best quarterbacks in the league not named Lamar, they're all in the AFC at this point. You've got Burrow, you've got Herbert, you've got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like, they're all in the AFC. So you get to the
Russell
NFC.
Wilson.
Don't do that. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be there soon, though. He'll be
Houston.
Raiders.
God, I
Please,
really
Raiders.
hope D'Amico. Double B Studio says, is Kyle off limits for Lamar Jackson? JK. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Just trade away the coach. Let Lamar be the coach. Let George Kittle be the coach.
That was pretty funny what you tweeted at him today.
He didn't respond. Maybe he's thinking about it.
Of course he didn't respond.
I asked George Kittle on Twitter if the Niners have his blessing to trade for Lamar Jackson, and he didn't respond. So maybe he's thinking it over. Lamonte 757 says Kyle needs a good defense to cover up his flaws on offense. Better the defense, more tries you get to try plays. We are getting Matty Ice and another running back in the 3rd round. Last TL, just play the kid. Hilarious, man. Matt, can we just get one big boo? Can we get one collective boo across America if the 49ers sign Matt Ryan? Just boo him.
He's going to come up in the Would You Rather game, so I'm curious to see what you say here.
Yeah, which way am I going to go on that one? Christian Nunez says, I know it's a touchy subject, but I'd rather keep Ayuk and extend him while trading Debo and taking some of his contract. Ayuk needs to stay a Niner for his fifth coming of the revenge tour. Ayuk hasn't missed a game since his rookie year. He seems more dependable. He seems more like a wide receiver. If you're going to pay a wide receiver, not a running back who's a wide receiver.
If you had to pick, what is there going to be more of? Shanahan 49er revenge tours or Fast and the Furious movies?
Oh my goodness. They're going to rival each other. Kyle Shanahan's going to go down as the Vin Diesel of NFL coaches.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Double B Studio says, is Lamar's arm worth 2 first round to the Ravens and $35 million a year? I know he has MVP caliber, but could he be that again under Kyle? I mean Kyle's supposed to be the best, right? Kyle's supposed to be the best. He's a genius. You got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Kittle and Debo and Ayuk. I mean, yeah, it should work. Unless Kyle isn't as good as we think he is. Unless Kyle would get Lamar hurt. But no, that's not the case, right? It's just football.
Man. He's not going to have better weapons than he can get here in San Francisco. And he's not going to have a better schemer, offensive schemer than Kyle unless he gets traded to the Chiefs. So, it's as good as it gets.
Christian Nunez says, also, everyone is talking like Lamar. He won't get injured in week 2 because Shanny wants to run the RG3 zone inside read up the right guard for 2 yards of carry. Christian, you make a good point. I really can't tell you that much. I don't know what to tell you. And the thing is, this is one of those moves that the Niners can't force on Kyle. This has to be Kyle's idea. Kyle has to want to do this. Otherwise, it's just disaster waiting to happen. And you never know what Kyle wants to do.
If everybody says that we
don't do it,
then he'll want to do it.
It seemed like Kyle was about to make the move for Deshaun Watson a few years ago before his career went up in smoke, kind of. But he's not all over. Lamar is way better than Deshaun. Way better.
Deshaun at that point was pretty damn good, man. They're right there with each other, or at least were. Not now. Obviously, time has passed and Watson hasn't played and whatever. But at that moment when they were going to get Watson potentially versus what you're getting in Lamar now, man, I think that was pretty close.
I always felt Watson was overrated. Like, I know he was on not so great teams, but he never won anything. You're a quarterback and you're supposed to make the biggest impact on Lamar. All he does is win. I know he hasn't done much in the playoffs, but man, Deshaun had a 4-12 season with fully healthy. Anyway, we're not talking about Deshaun Watson, who's a bum.